Hey y'all, hey, I'm back. I know I've been MIA for a little bit. Um, and I guess today I'm going to tell you why. Um, it was confirmed a few weeks ago that I was pregnant. Um, I felt it. God had told me by the end of July that I would be pregnant. And so I knew it was coming. But to have it confirmed was everything. I mean, the girl, we was happy. Me and Eric were so happy and overjoyed that a little Motley was coming, and I couldn't have had better news. Um, I'm gonna put in the clip because I knew, I felt it. Eric was telling me I was being dramatic, and to wait till I heard from the doctor, but I felt it. You know, you can't put God on no timer, so I was gonna wait until my last ovulation or at the end of July to, um, you know, I was trusting them that strong that I was gonna wait till the last ovulation till July, but my period in July never came. But I knew. Okay, so. Okay, today is July 21st. And I know I'm pregnant. Um, haven't taken the test yet. I'm gonna record that when I reveal it to my husband. But I want to start my vlog today because I know what's happening. So this is I'm probably I will be 3 months, 3 weeks pregnant today. So I haven't even hit a month. But yeah, I just want to start it because I know this is what I'm walking into, and the more I have, the more beautiful this vlog will be. So I will share next week when I take the test and my husband's reaction. But I feel you. I know you're in there. You've given me dreams, and I know you're coming. I love you. Yeah, over the moon when it was confirmed that I was pregnant, and you couldn't have had two happier people. I had been struggling. I had been having a lot of pain, and I was giving everything an excuse, you know, that I was 34, that, you know, maybe my intermittent eating had, you know, because I hadn't got off of that yet. You know, I was still intermittent eating, and so I'm like giving every excuse to why I was in pain. And you know, Eric was wanting me to go get checked out, but I was planning on doing a wild pregnancy, so I wasn't planning on going to the hospital at all, actually. So I was holding in strong for that. You know, I did go for the confirmation, but as far as ultrasounds or going to the doctor and getting checkups, I didn't plan on doing any of that. So I didn't, you know, I was holding out on like everything working out. And actually I had an appointment with the VA, and the day before the appointment I started bleeding. And I started bleeding, but I was still not worried. You know, I had went and talked to Uncle Google, and they was like, you know, sometimes people just got bleeding, you know, as long as it's not getting heavy, it could be fine. People bleed and then it stops. So I had read it and was like, okay, I'm fine, you know, just sometimes people go through this. I hadn't gone through anything as far as morning sickness or anything like that. So I'm like, well, this is my, this is my part. This is the stuff I'm going to be dealing with. And I was getting kind of backed up, so I was like, okay, well, maybe it's gas pain, this and that, I'm just giving it every excuse. But the day of my appointment, I went up there and I had told them that I believed I was pregnant, and that but I was telling them, I had been bleeding, and the nurse completely stopped taking my vitals and information, and went and got the doctor. And they were talking, and when he came in, he was looking at me with the puppy dog eyes, real sympathetic, and was just telling me that he was sorry. He was just apologizing for my loss. And I'm like, what is he talking about? Y'all ain't took my you ain't took my blood pressure, my heart rate, nothing. Like, how are you telling me that I'm miscarrying? And they told me to go over to the emergency room. They have an urgent care, but all their ultrasound machines were down, so I was taking that as a sign from God. I did not want an ultrasound, so when they said their ultrasound machines was down, I'm like, okay, no, this is God confirming that I should not do that. And they told me to go to the emergency room, but how the energy they was giving me about me miscarrying, I felt it was real negative. I did not believe that to be my story, and I came home. I had called Eric and told him what they were saying, and I was telling him, like, this is why I didn't want to deal with the hospital. They are speaking so negative, on the happiest moment of my life right now, that I just wanted to shut it out. I came home, I got in the bath, went to bed. I was like, I'm over today. I don't want any more. I went to bed. The next day I woke up, and clots were coming out when I was using the bathroom. And I started realizing that I probably was miscarrying. To process that was one of the hardest things I have ever faced to this day. I had waited so long to be pregnant, to lose my first child. I could not fathom it. I had never even thought of that. Like, that thought had never crossed my mind, that I would finally get pregnant and lose the baby. So I just kind of went silent that day. I didn't really talk to anybody. I didn't even talk to Eric, really. And when he came home, I told him, I do believe that I miscarried. We went to the hospital, and I cried that whole ride. I just could not believe it. We got to the emergency room and did the check-in, and I just told her at the counter, like, I think I'm miscarrying. I thought maybe it would give some more urgency, or it didn't. They had us go wait back in the waiting room. and they gave me the cup to pee in, you know, if I had to use the bathroom while I waited. And I went to use the restroom and the clot dropped in the cup, and I just could not stop crying. I came back out and Eric's like, what just happened? And I'm explaining it to him, and I just laid in his lap and cried. And they finally called us back, and you know, they took blood and they were doing their tests, and they were waiting on the lady to come do the ultrasound to see what was going wrong. And you know, I kind of just wanted them to tell me, was I still pregnant or not, you know, while we were waiting. I didn't really want the ultrasound still, you know, whether I was pregnant or not. I just didn't see the point of it anymore if I was miscarrying. And I was just waiting for them to come say you are or you aren't. We waited a few hours, and then the lady came for the ultrasound, and I asked her, you know, have you heard if I'm still pregnant or not? And she said that she couldn't tell me that I had to wait to hear from the doctor. She did the ultrasound, but then she pulled out the stirrups, you know, and she's talking about giving me a vaginal ultrasound, and I've never even heard of that. I did not even know that that was a real thing until that day. And everything in me, in my head, in my body was screaming no. But I didn't do anything but lay there and cry. I just participated in it because I guess I still wanted to know what was going on, but it was so painful. And I cried on them taking me back to the room. You know, I told Eric, I knew I shouldn't have did that, you know, that I didn't want to, and that I felt so violated, and we just had to wait. You know, she told me that it would be a half hour before they could read the ultrasounds, and I just wanted to go home. I just felt like if I'm losing my baby, I just want to go home and be comfortable and just deal with this with my husband. You know, nobody had knew but our girls that I was pregnant. And I guess in some way it made it easier, but I just wanted to go home and deal with it. And it came back in. The doctor came back in and was saying that I hadn't lost my baby, that it was ectopic, that the baby never left my fallopian tube, and that it had gotten so big that they were gonna have to remove it. You know, they said sometimes they catch it early enough that they can give women a medication to end the pregnancy, you know, and bring the baby out. But I was too far, and there was too much blood around the baby that I couldn't take the medication that I needed to get the surgery, and they were trying to do it right then. And I just couldn't process it. I just couldn't process that. I started the day out just trying to be honest with myself that this was happening, that I was losing my baby. And now they're telling me that I'm not even going to just be able to miscarry and let the baby come out, but I'm going to have a constant reminder of it with the surgery. And I was still set on going home. I asked the doctor to give me a minute to talk to my husband, and he had said that with the surgery he may have to remove my tube. And Eric said he didn't hear him say that, but that was louder than anything else he said to me, you know. So I was talking to him, and I started reaching out to the nurses I knew. Just for them to tell me if this was something right now, you know, that I had to do right now. And the first person that answered, she told me that I can get a second opinion. You know, that you can ask for a second opinion. And I don't even think I got off the phone with her good. You know, I just wanted to get to the doctor to tell them that. Like, I wanted my second opinion. And he said, you know, that he was the only OBGYN there, and that he just didn't think it was a good idea to wait. And I told him, you know, I'll go to another hospital. You know, if I have to go to another hospital to get my second opinion, I'll go to another hospital, and if they say it, I'll then get it done. And he told me, he said, I don't use this word loosely, but if you leave here and have to go to another waiting room, I'm afraid that it might burst and you might die. And I just thought about all the pain I had been in, and how I kept putting it aside and giving it an excuse for something else was going on. And that maybe had I came earlier, that I would have been able to just take the medication. And that me or my husband would never have to hear somebody saying, like, that I might not make it out the day. I felt so guilty because I wanted this baby so bad that I stopped thinking about myself or my husband. I stopped telling my husband how much pain I was in because I did not want him to force me to go to the hospital. And I could have lost my life because of it. I could have died trying to hold on to my first baby that was not going to thrive. And I still couldn't process it. It was all just too much at one time. Like, this day was literally changing my life forever. And I just I just wanted to go to sleep and wake up and it'd be a nightmare. I just asked them to give us some more time. And my friend from childhood called me back, and I was asking her, you know, she's a nurse now, and I just needed to talk to somebody that wasn't just medical, but that cared about me, you know. And I said, he said he has to do the surgery right now. Like, I can't even go home and think about it. And she said, I'm so sorry, but he's telling you the truth. You know, if the blood that's around the baby bursts, you could die. And that you have to have the baby removed. I couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe it. The doctor came back in and asked me what I wanted to do, and I told him I didn't have any choice. I guess I didn't feel like I did. So he asked me, could he pray? And I looked at my husband because I'm like, you know, I really thought, like, I don't know who you praying to. That was my first thought, but I told him, go ahead. And he began praying. And it did give me some comfort, like at least he's seeking God while he's trying to put his hands on me. And I signed the paper, and the nurse came in to witness it, and he left out and the chaplain came in. And I thought he was coming in for, you know, like, in case I die. And he began to talk to us about what we wanted done with the baby's remains. It just kept feeling like when I thought the day couldn't get any harder. And he prayed.